G'day, it's nice to be back. It has been over a month now. Today, the conversation I want to have is the Kiwi dream in 2025. Is it a dream or is it a nightmare? We did an article a little while back, a couple of years ago must have been. We talked about the Kiwi dream. Is it all cracked up to be? You should go back and read that article. And for decades, us Kiwis have been sold this dream of owning a home or an investment property, and they called it an ultimate dream. And what happened was this was a product brought in by the bank for them to make money. Come 2025, is it the right move? Is owning a home the right thing to do? And we've spoken about this in the past. There's a right way to own a home and there's a stupid way to own a house. We're trying to educate people who are listening to us what is the right way so you can live a good life as well. Hi, I'm Nathan Najib. Is owning a home the Kiwi dream, or is it a trap? Is it something to strand you for the rest of your life? After years of selling real estate and investing in real estate from age 22, I've come to realize that purchasing your first home is not all they've said it to be, right? Owning a home does not necessarily equal success. In this day and age, when you're going to buy a home, you end up comparing yourself with your friends, your family members, people who their parents might have helped them out to get into property ladder. So buying your first home, you got to do it the right way, and there's a wrong way to do it as well. So let me stick to the end and I'll talk to you what is the right way to get into the property ladder and build your wealth from there. What is the Kiwi dream? The Kiwi dream is about home ownership, a strong community, and a balanced lifestyle where the families enjoy freedom, nature, and financial security in New Zealand's beautiful surrounding. This is according to ChatGPT. Now, is the Kiwi dream still achievable in today's environment? Is 2025, is that something, people used to say the Kiwi dream? The banks actually sold us the Kiwi dream. The Kiwi dream, they sold us. How did they do that? How did they got everybody into thinking the Kiwi dream is owning a home? They did a big campaign because obviously the banks are in the business of making money. They're charging people interest. They didn't want to just pay people willy-nilly 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 back then. So they said, we're going to have this product in between the bank and the consumer called the Kiwi dream. And they sold you this Kiwi dream and trapped you for the next 30 years of your life. So they can start collecting this interest. Brilliant business. Brilliant campaign, but is it still achievable in the current market? What's the right way to go about this Kiwi dream so you don't get trapped for the rest of your life? And what's the wrong way or the stupid way to go about this Kiwi dream and buy into what the bank sold us, right? Is the Kiwi dream still achievable? To achieve a Kiwi dream, we look at the house prices or the average house price or median house price equals to what a household bring in. That's household income. And if it's between 3 to 5 times household income, it's an achievable or affordable level, I should say. And if it's above that, it's very close to unaffordable. Now, if we look back, and when it was 2022, 2021, it was the peak of the market, the crazy times, that was like 7 times plus household income. And that's what we were saying, that this thing is going to be, the market is going to come back in a huge way because, as I said, if people can't afford to buy houses, what happens to the market? It needs to come back. So that's exactly what's happened since 2022. So 2023, the median house price was $669,500. 2024, it was $659,000. Now, the household income is $111,155 in 2023, and then it was $116,139 2024. So good thing, the income has gone up, the house price come back. Thanks to, obviously, the new government and what they're doing with everything they're rolling in. They bring in the prices, the household income to go up, and the affordability or the average sale price of the home coming back, as well as the things are becoming cheaper in the supermarkets, right? So the thing is, it's just like anything, right? If you're bringing more money than what you're paying, things are becoming affordable. So in 2023, the median house price versus household income ratio was just over 6 times. And 2024 is just between 5.68, around 5.68 times, which is not an ideal place I want it to be. but it's better than what it used to be. So, and I feel like it needs to be, I feel like it's going to come back to 3 to 5 times. And the new numbers for 2025 hasn't released. I suggest once it releases, it will be back from 659,000. And remember, in 2023, we did a video, we talked about the market, what's going to 2024 and beyond, what would be in the cards for us. We said the market is going to come back. Everybody else was saying, no, the market is going to go up because obviously they wanted you to buy their product, right? Just like the bank, how they got a product, the house, and they want to sell you stuff so you can pay interest for the rest of your life so they make money. That's what you got to be mindful. You got to ask questions before you make a decision. We said the market's going to come back and look what's been happening. Have a look at that graph up there for you to check out. Now, take a look at Sam. Can he achieve the Kiwi dream? Sam is planning to buy his first home and move from Ashburton to Christchurch. Sam is 32 years old. He's single. He's an account manager. He makes $85,000 a year. Now, let's first take a rough estimate of his expenses. So expenses for Sam and how much can he afford to borrow. Now, Sam's income and investment. Monthly income, Sam makes gross income of $7,083.33. And net monthly income, after the taxes and everything, he takes home $5,200. His savings and his investment, he's got $40,000 in Kiwi Saver. Additional saving for home, he's been good. He's been great. He's saved $60,000. A lot of people don't have that kind of saving, but Sam has done very well. He's 32 years old. He's been doing some savings. He's saved $60,000. Now, that's $100,000. What we suggest is to people have $20,000 in emergency fund just in case interest rate goes up or whatever may happen. His car might blow a tire or whatever. It's nice to have $20,000 in emergency funds, right? Now, Sam's expenses, monthly expenses, is $3,000. What I suggest to people is if you want to go get ahead in life, you need to decrease those things. You need to try to decrease your expenses and increase your income. In today's society, it's very hard to do it, but I urge you to do that and not buy into comparing yourself with a neighbor next door, buddy of yours who's got rich parents or whatever it may be. If you want to get ahead in life, you need to cut your expenses back. Now, moving on to Sam's disposable income. So net monthly income, as we said, is $5,200. His expenses are $3,000. With a disposable income of $2,200, he can consider allocating $2,000 for monthly mortgage repayment. Now, the good thing also is you got to realize the good thing is whilst the price are coming back, also the interest rates coming back. So now may be a good time for Sam to think about how they can invest in a property. If Sam bought a property in 2022, 2021, that would have been a stupid move because he would have lost money as well as the interest rate was pretty high. So now, based on his all expenses and incomes, Sam's income, potential mortgage details, desired monthly mortgage of $2,000, interest rate of 5%, and loan is a 30 years term. As I said, the bank want to lock you up for 30 years. And what he can afford is approximately $372,000 in $372,500. Now, if you add his deposit, which you've put together nicely, diligently, $100,000, $472,500. Now, let's have a look at what we can buy in Christchurch for that kind of money. Now, let's take a look at our Najib properties to see what is possible. We've got a couple of examples here I want to share with you. First one is Unit 135, Estuary Road in New Brighton. The price guide we had there was $345 to $400, and remember, Sam's budget is $472,500. This home here was on a cross-lease title and it was 130 square meters. The GV was $445,000. Land value was $215,000. Improvement value was $230,000. Rates for that property, remember, rates is part of expense as well for Sam, right? It's $2,472.32. It was 1970, 1979 kind of built. And it wasn't like the best school zones, but that's a nice way to get into a property to buy it where it's not in great school zones perhaps because the first home, right? I talk to a lot of elderly, have a conversation with them. They all say, we used to start from the bottom. We used to buy a section, put a wee tent on it if you were a camper van or whatever, and then or a shed, and then start building home like from there. Where now, everybody's expectation to buy the best house in the street because his buddy down the road, Johnny, whose parents lend them all the money, bought a nice house, which is nothing wrong with, good for Johnny. But hey, you got to be careful because you can't afford to do that. Now, the second example is 25 Tuckers Road. That sold, the price was $489. It sold for $480. That's a nice home, what I suggest. 3 bedrooms. It had a single garage on a full section. That's my recommendation for people to buy as first home. It needed a bit of work, so it was fantastic. Good, right? That's why you pay $480 for it, not $650 for it, right? Now, this is on 723 square meter section. The GV was $520. The land value was $340. The improvement value was $180,000. It was 1950s built, and it was Papanui High School zone. Not the most sought after, but there's nothing wrong with Papanui School zone. And plus, if you're buying your first home, you're at that stage. Hopefully, if you've got kids, it's a different story, but maybe you don't need, majority of first home buyers, they don't need school zone, the best school zone. So that's where you should start, I suggest, the right way to get your foot on the ladder. Looking for homes for these suburbs in Christchurch will fit Sam's price guide, right? Like entry level, though I've suggested before that, buying properties on the east side, nothing wrong with it, because eventually you would want to, if you have a desire to move in to the other side, you can. You start over on the east side, just like I did. Let me share that with you at the end. My story is buying on the east side, cheaper area like Phillipstown, 489,000, Aranui, 500,000, Bromley, 520, Linwood, 522, and New Brighton, 535. Those are kind of like areas where you can buy things that are under 600,000. And like I said, it's not where you finish, it's where you start. And first home are supposed to be get your foot on the ladder. Now, we've talked about this thing called the real estate cycle. When is this time to buy, right? Yes, we talk about time in the market, not timing the market, but you've got to also make sure you avoid buying at peak, which is 2021, 2022. We've spoken about this in the past many times. You do not go and buy a property and trying to buy the next house and next house and next house when you time it wrong and buying the peaks. Like, what happens is when you listen to people's advices and you don't question their advice, you end up costing you a whole lot of money, right? It might have happened in your life. It's happened many times in my life that I listen to people I shouldn't listen to, and then I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have done this. Thankfully, in real estate, because I did a whole lot of study and everything, I'm like, I've done the right thing when I got into real estate, my first investment that I bought, and then built my equity or my wealth from there. Now, for Sam, when should he buy and his goals? Now, real estate is a cycle where we are at the moment, 2025, 2026, you can see it in the graph that we've shared. And my advice is to build equity by buying a home and build equity as fast as possible. Now, what happens, I've spoken about this in the past, you should watch our videos we've put up. But one other thing I want to emphasize is buying a house and trying to avoid buying in the wrong time. And how do you avoid buying at the wrong time? That was in the peak, 2021, 2022. And the way to avoid buying at the wrong time is listen to the right people. Now, when you buy the property in the right time, which I suggest now from here on is the right time for the next 24 months or so, is you buy it, sit on it, and start building equity. Because from the bottom, there's only one way to go, right? It will be just like your equity is going to keep on growing. Now, how can you get ahead? For Sam, what would be his way to get ahead in today's environment or today's society? He brings home, after tax and everything, he brings home $5,200 per month. His expenses are $3,000. He leaves them with $2,200. The mortgage payment or repayment, if you were to buy a house, will be $2,000 a month. Rate will be $930. If we average rate, usually about $3,000, so it's $930. And then current losses without tenant. If he was to just live in the house, a 3-bedroom house that he bought, and he just lives in the house on his own, his loss would be $730. Now, if he rents a couple of bedrooms and kind of like roughs it out for a little while, $1,680 two flatmates will bring in. Now, the total saving for him will be $950 rather than a loss of $730, which is not sustainable. Now, is the Kiwi dream still achievable in 2025? With a $950 month saving for Sam, can he still achieve that dream? Can he still live a comfortable life and own his own home? Now, as I said, there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. This is what I'm suggesting the right way. What is the right way? Is when you buy your first home, you don't have to buy the biggest house in the street. You don't have to go and buy in the best area in town. You need to go and buy a house. It's a stepping ladder with something you can step into and then move on from there, right? This is the fast way to buy your first home, get out of there, rent the place out, and move on to the next house. Exactly what I did. Now, he has $950 saving after he rents out a couple of bedrooms. Here's what I suggest he does. Perhaps having a second income for time being until he can move on, rent this place out and move on to the next house, have a second income. Like what we call it, today's generation call it, is side hustle, some sort of side hustle, or increase his current income. How do you increase his current income? I suggest you add a lot of value to the company you work for, work long hours maybe, whatever it may be, because your employer will see the effort that you're putting in and they're like, right, well, this man here, Sam, is putting a lot of effort in. Now I'd like to increases his salary. And that's what every smart employer would do, of course, right? Now, or he can buy the property perhaps with a friend. That's not my best case scenario, but if he has to, he can buy it with a friend or a partner. And we suggest the market could get better so that if you were to buy now, if you're in the bottom of the market, when the market was quieter, the market will increase and he will build equity, as well as the market where it's at now. I spoke about this. When the market is bottom or close to the bottom, the interest rates start dropping, because when nobody's buying, they need to, the banks and the Reserve Bank and the government, they need to get the economy moving. So what they do, they drop the interest rate like what they've been doing lately, right? So 5.5%, at 6.89% when I have my interest for the property, was the interest was at X amount, and now 5.5% or 5% soon, hopefully, the interest rate will drop. So meaning that the money that I'm paying to the bank will drop, my mortgage rate will drop, right? Now, over time, he will increase his equity. And then the other option is also the deposit. Hopefully, he can borrow, if he's got parents that can lend him money, he can borrow some money from, as we call it, the bank of mum and dad to decrease his payment. Now, if you're a buyer like Sam or an investor looking to invest in 2025 around Christchurch or so on, reach out to us and we would love to help you invest or help you start your journey in real estate. And if you're an investor, of course, you can reach out to us as well. We can help you. And go back and watch our videos, what our suggestions are and recommendations. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, myself personally, or send me an email. I'm more than happy to help you out in your real estate journey. As I said, you can make it a trap or you can make it a dream. That's totally up to you. But listening to the right people really will help you do it the right way. All the best, and I hope it's been of help to you. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel below so you can get our next videos as soon as it comes out.